Right, welcome back, and this time we're back on the BF wagon, and I'm looking to address another issue that most BF Falcon owners are going to encounter at some point, and that's the hood lining. My hood lining is falling down, and it's really filthy, and yeah, so this is my next DIY project. And because this was an ex-taxi, at the same time I'm going to try and address fixing these holes that were just drilled. Obviously there's mounting the taxi sign, and I think spotlights there's that. So initially these just had a big blob of silicone on them. And once the hood lining is removed, I can get to the underside and put something there. Then I'll be able to put a bit of body filler in here. So they had silicone on them, and the paint won't stick to it, so I've cleaned that off, put a bit of this tape on there just to seal it. So I guess you could say it's already improved, or I've taken a step forwards in the process. So let's have a quick look at this hood lining. Right, so we'll see if we can get a good view of this. You can see I've done the old thumbtack mod around most of it, around the light. And I don't know what happened with this thing, but it looks like someone opened a can of Coke in here once upon a time and it just whoosh. So this hood lining is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, there's crap all over this thing. So yeah, get a look at the back. Let's see, it's dropping there. I mean, if I took all those pins out, this thing would just be hanging right down. And there's a bit more at the back there. Not quite so filthy at the back, but I've got the thumbtack mod going on there as well. So I'm going to have a go at doing this myself. When I say myself, I'm going to pull all this down, clean it all up, and I've already had a chat with Motor Trimmer and to buy the materials and the heat resistant glue they use, because there's a lot of heat comes through the metal above. There's not much between here and the top, so we'll have a look when that's off. It's only going to cost me another $50 to get him to do it, so I think that's where the DIY bit's going to take a break, and I'll drop this off to him. He'll do it, I'll pick it up, and then I'll put it in myself. Plus I want to see if I can get in between here and the roof a bit more insulation, just for sound deadening and to keep some of the heat out, because it is just a tin box on a summer's day. And yeah, see how we go with that. So I'm going to start pulling this down. There's all bits and pieces to take off all around, but this is the DIY bit, so I'll show you guys how it comes down, and the whole process as it comes out and goes back in. Right, so we might as well start at the front and work our way back. And the two tools that I think all I'll need is this, and good old Phillips head. Okay, so I'll get this corner pillar cover off. So we need to pull this down a little bit. And that should just unclip. You want to get in behind there and kind of get it where the clips are. It's pretty straightforward. Just a few clips. Get this sun visor now. You can see all along the front there, all fallen down too. I did glue it once, but it lasted a little while. Then the thumbtacks fixed it. Right, so this isn't actually a Phillips. It's a Torx. Okay. Right, so it is the 225 Torx. Get this out. Oh, there it goes. So that's sort of clipped in and screwed in. Right, so while we're here, this centre light should just pull out like that. Got the connector there, you just squeeze that bit in there. There we go. So that pretty much stays behind. So I'll get this side off next. That's the same, it's just got two Torx. So I'll get that off. That's the passenger side. The driver's side doesn't have it. So I'll get those things done and I'll bring you back. Right, so those bits are down now, including the little pillar trim there. So the next thing, as we progress back, is this trim here. So you need to just pull this away a little bit. And hopefully, pretty sure, you can just unclip that like that. And then that frees that up there. And now we can just tuck that back in. Just so we can shut the door. Right, so I've moved to the back seat now. Just get this down from this position. It just slides down there. That can come free there. So we've got these two clips and a coat hanger, coat hook thing. We've got the light on the other side. We've got no coat hook, but we've still got one of those. So let's just get this light down. I want to be careful with this because I've just got a new lens for that. Those little tabs break off. So what have we got in here? Pretty sure this just pulls down. Those little clips there just pop in. So let's just pop them out. trick is not to break things. Plastic things are easily broken. Okay, and you can see that's already starting to flop. So let's see if we can just poke that back up in there. Right, so that's going to stay behind. Right, let's get these two things out. So I should be able to just get behind this. And pop it out. Like that. It flew, but I found it. There we go. What have we got? Another Torx. Separate that a bit more. It's coming free. Right, so the next thing is this what's that, ABC pillar trim. So I think that this just pulls out. We'll see. I mean, that's enough because it's released this now. So we'll be able to work that free. Yeah, it's coming down. Right. So in the centre, we've got these little oval shaped bits. Actually, I'll use this bit. Oh. There we go. Okay, see if I can find those, and I'll get the other side trim off and then we'll progress on. Right, so that side trim is off, the centre ones are off, and we're into the back luggage area now, and we've got another one of those there, and on the other side it's missing, so that's okay. I'll have to dig one up for when we put it back together. So let's get that off. Right, so I'll go and pop the back hatch open and we'll start from there. Okay, we're here in the back now. So the things that have to come off in here, right at the very back, there's two more of those things. I'll make it one more. There's these things, these trims that have to come off. Now they're held in by the Phillips. I've already taken this one off because I've got the wreck car that I'm pretty much picking which is the best one out of the two. So this one had a lot of scuffs on it, so the other one was actually better. So I've cleaned that and it's drying out. So just have to peel that up like that. It was easy. And that releases it. Let's just try and tuck that so it's not dropping in my face. As you can see, this thing's fallen down around her ears, so it's all but out. So that light at the back there, that comes with it. You can undo the little wiring harness that connects to it. So I'll get those last couple of bits off and we'll drag it out. Right, so it's pretty much free. This is our little rear light. Press in that clip and that comes off. And should be able to give that a bit of a pull. It's just hooking up on there, so I'm just going to go and try and get that out from behind them, and we'll give it another pull and see how we go. Right, so our wiring harness is still attached here. It goes to the front light. So if we follow it up here, it attaches to the pillar there, and we've got a connector there. So we'll just pop that clip off there, undo the connector, and that can all come with it. Right, let's see if we can get this hood lining out. Okay, so this is it. See, the light came with it. The wire runs underneath that bit of insulation there. It's just a little harness that comes with it. That bit of foamy stuff is pretty much just a light deflector, and a little bit of insulation stuff on there. It's not really very thick. Let's see if we can improve on that. So that's it, that's all of it. That front light will come off easy enough. We've just got to pull the wire from underneath that bit of insulation. This rear light, oh, that's the Sharpies from the thumbtack. So it looks like you just got to pop them open. Of course, the trick again is not breaking it. Okay, I'm getting there. Oh, there we go. Right, so that's our backlight. Okay, we're starting to run out of light here a bit, so I've got the work light going. So this is the front part of that harness. So It should just come off there. Like that. That disappears under there. And I just pull that through like that. Try not to trash this. Stuck down with hot glue by the feel of it. Okay, that's all we need to peel. I've got another bit of this tape. Wow, this is strong stuff. Okay. Right, so let's flip this over and have a look at the other side. So the next job will be to peel the old lining off and clean it up. Then I'll take basically like the carcass to the trimmer, get him to do it up, and I'll bring it back. Look how filthy that thing is. There is a bit of a plastic trimmy bit there. Actually, that's metal. Let's flip that back over and see how that goes on. Okay, so it's got some tabs there. So it seems if you can lift this one back out of the way, pop it down, it sort of comes free. It bends really easy, this thing. It's thin as, which I guess is good in a way. You can see that's distorted, so the good thing about it being thin is you can bend it back easily enough. Right, so just quickly I realised that that metal thing goes on this. That's what it actually slips up into. So those little tabs there on the side just grip the plastic. That one's not quite doing it, but that's the purpose of it. So it only has to be that shape. So if it's a little bit out when we put it all back together, once I put this back in it, it'll probably reshape it anyway. So yeah, we'll be good. Right, so here we are the next day. I've got the hood lining laid out here on the pavement, and I'm going to start stripping this off. It doesn't look like it's going to be a difficult job. Actually, I could just about do that right now. There you go, just like that. Well, that was the easy part. The difficult part is cleaning all of this off. So apparently you use a wire brush is the best tool to use for that. So I'm going to get on with that, and I'll show you how it turns out. Oh, this wire brush does a pretty good job. It's clogging the hell out of it, but right, I'll finish this up and I'll show you how it looks at the end. Right, so here's the finished result, and I must say that was a pretty sucky job, but cleaned up pretty good. So Next thing I'm going to try to do is get it down to the guy, and the plan will be is pretty much not totally reinstall it, but just put it in and enough to just pin it sort of on the corners, just so it stays up enough. I'll drive it there, take the little bits off again and give it to him, and that's how I'll bring it back. I'll pretty much just pin the corners and drive back with it when it's done. So I'm going to get on with that, and hopefully the next time you guys see this, it will be all fixed and redone. Okay, so here's a quick look inside the car with the roof lining gone, and it's looking pretty bare. You can see there's absolutely no insulation in here, so it's kind of pretty hollow sounding. So there's a lot of noise that's going to transfer through, road noise that is, and heat. So I've done a little bit of prep here. I've got some fibre fill, and I've kind of sanded this down, cleaned it off, and just sort of spacked a bit of fibre fill over there. So this stuff goes pretty hard, so it's harder than body filler, so that'll give it a bit of structural integrity sort of thing. And I've managed to get the one at the back there, that's where the antenna went, so that hole is plugged up. So I'm going to put some insulation up in here, and I'll bring you back when I've done that. Okay, now that was a bit of a job, but it's in. It's all insulated now. It's sort of this spongy foam stuff. It's about that thick, and I managed to get that all the way in. Every section is done. So that's going to, this stuff is used for insulation around hot water pipes and air conditioning pipes and that sort of thing. So I'm thinking that's going to cut down the noise, it's going to cut down the heat, and I'm really chuffed how that worked out. So the next thing is to have a look at the hood lining, and I've got that back from the trimmers. So let's have a quick look at that. Right. Now, here we are, back from the trimmers. It looks really, really good. You remember it was absolutely filthy, fallen down and just a wreck, so this is just, I'm really, really wrapped on how this turned out too. So next thing is just to pop this back up, put all the clips back in. This is the front bit here. I've got to put that little metal bit back in there, and it should just all clip, 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 and it'll be in. So I'll get on with that, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, so through the magic of video, we are all in and buttoned up and finished. So I didn't film putting it in, but obviously it's the exact opposite of the removal. So I've got, remember I showed you at the beginning, that was all messed up along the front there. That's just all spot on. Everything's perfect now. That all back in, all through the back there. It's just looking great. It was a little more difficult to put back in the sense of the new material. The little slots for those bits were just like a little nick in the material, so you had to sort of fish around to find the actual threaded hole behind it. The insulation above, just you had to kind of push it up, the liner up into place just a little firmer, but it's staying there, and it's probably just going to settle in a bit more as time goes on. The light holds that centre bit up nicely there. So one of the only things you have to be really mindful of is this adjuster mechanism here. This has to line up. The actual slide piece in the plastic here has to physically line up with the metal bit that actually controls this. So if you don't line that up properly, this won't work, and chances are it'll break a little bit of the plastic behind there. So yeah, you pretty much just, there's sort of like a round section in the plastic and a round section in the metal. Once you get those aligned, then you're good, and it'll just pop in place. So there's sort of a bracket in here too that you've got to make sure is clipped in firmly. Right, for those that were interested, I've covered up these with some body filler, and that should keep the weather out. But obviously I do intend to sand this and paint it, but I won't be showing that in this video because this is a repair your hood lining video. So we're all done with this, and the result speaks for itself. It's just a really good outcome, and hopefully this might help anybody who's looking to do a bit of a DIY themselves. And just as a side note, it is actually quite a bit quieter when I'm driving. You can tell there's a stretch of road I went down at 100 k's before I did this job, and it was quite a rough surface and it was pretty noisy, so I did the same thing, and you can really tell it's a lot quieter now. So I'd like to thank everyone who's followed along, and I've got a few in the BF wagon series now, so hopefully before too long I'll be able to get back onto some motorbike stuff. But until then, thanks for watching, and if you like the content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later.